I hope you're doing really well. It's the first week of April. The sun is shining. It feels like spring is right around the corner, but we woke up to a little bit of snow this morning. It is slowly melting, but you never really know what kind of weather you're going to get around these parts, which is by the lake just outside of Toronto in Canada. If you're wondering what lake I am by, it is Lake Ontario. And I'm having a really cozy day today, just organizing some of my knitting, getting my projects lined up for the coming months, because I always feel like knitting so much more in the spring and summer, which I'm not sure if that's typical or not, but I feel like it's already starting to hit me and I want to get all of my projects lined up. So I spent a bit of time yesterday organizing my project bags, setting up new bags to kind of keep in different areas of the house, and have a lot of exciting things to catch you up on, because not this past weekend, the weekend before was Knit City, Toronto. So I did spend a really good amount of time in the last month or two sewing and preparing and not knitting as much as I really wanted to. It was a great show and I came home with a few new goodies and very, very inspired, which always happens when I go to any kind of wool or knitting festival. I think my favorite thing about it is just being surrounded by other makers, not just vendors, but also all of the knitters, crocheters, crafty people. It is so inspiring to be surrounded by like-minded people, and it's gotten me very excited to work on some existing projects and also a brand new one that I cast on while I was working in my booth. So I have a lot to share with you today. I've got stuff spread out all around me. I'm just gonna get started. I thought I would talk about Knit City first because it was a really wonderful event. It was the second time that there has been a Knit City Toronto event. I did participate in the first one. It was located at the Enercare Center, which is the exhibition, and it was a really fun weekend. It was organized so wonderfully. There were a ton of makers and vendors. I think there were over 120 vendors there, and it was just a really great show. The Friday night was a VIP event, so it was super chill and very nice to just chat with some people walking through. And then Saturday and Sunday were the open marketplaces. There were a lot of classes and things going on, and it was just a wonderful time. I shared a booth with my friend Christina, the Cozy Knitter. We didn't have a kit put together for this show just due to a whole bunch of stuff going on in life this year, but we hope to have some new kits in the coming months, which I'm super excited about. And it was just so nice to share a booth with a friend and get to hang out with some of her family, and some of my family was there. So it was a really great weekend. If you came by to say hello, thank you so much. It was one of my favorite parts of the entire weekend. I had a lot of people just come and say hi, and it was just really, really fun. I met so many amazing women, and I also picked up a few things. So I wanted to share on my first night, well, my first day actually, setting up the booth on Friday. I was there with Glenn and James. They were helping me. And right across from me was Big Blue MoMA, which is a wonderful vendor, there's her name, of baskets. I've purchased baskets from her booth many, many times in the past. She was actually my neighbor at one of the last shows that I did, and I was very excited to see that she was right across from me. But because I have so many baskets, I immediately said to Glenn and James, I love them, but I will not be buying another basket. I have enough. I'm not going to do it. And sure enough, after she set up, there was one right in my eyesight that just had to come home with me. I just thought it was the most beautiful color combination. I had to pick it up. So first thing on Saturday morning before we opened, I ran over and I picked it up. I've actually put my habitation throw in here, which I was working on in December and January. I haven't really worked on this too much. It was hidden in a project bag, and I thought this might be the perfect project to tuck in here with a few more minis that I'll be putting in next. And I can pick this up throughout the next few months, just whenever I feel like it, or take this basket out to the backyard and work on it. This way I can see it. I don't forget about it, because if it's out of sight, it's kind of out of mind for me, because I am always jumping from one project to another. And one of the things I am really trying to do after Knit City and a whole bunch of other things that were keeping me super busy and kind of distracted the last few months is really prioritize what projects I'm working on and just carve out the time to work on them. If I am working on too many things at once, nothing gets done, and I don't want to forget about this beautiful habitation throw. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. This gorgeous progress keeper is from Soft Spoken. She is a Canadian maker. And I'm really happy with my basket. I have no regrets. I'm keeping it on the main floor so that I can bring it into the kitchen, take it out to the backyard when the weather improves. Also, just a few booths away from me was the Wandering Flock. And I've been wanting some yarn from them for a while. I've actually almost made purchases from them online, but I always hesitate just because it's online and I just thought I will wait. But since they were there, I went over to check out their booth. It was gorgeous, so inspiring. They had a amazing rack of samples there that was so much fun to look through. And I saw that they had a sample of the Jaunty Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And it's actually one of the projects that has been on my list of dream knitting for a while, but I noticed that they had a mini version or a small version, which is just a 2 skein project. And so I decided to grab yarn for that in this beautiful color. This is, I can't remember the name of this base, if it's called Puffy or Fluff. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. But it is 35% baby Surrey, 15% wool, 50% cotton. It's a worsted Aran weight. And 2 skeins of this will give me the small version of the Jaunty Shawl. which is kind of like, I think it's a fisherman's rib, or it replicates a fisherman's rib. I can't quite remember the details. I never got that far, but I love this color. I feel like it's a really versatile color without being too neutral. It's kind of like a baby blue, but it has a very slight grayish lilac undertone, and I think it's stunning. So I purchased these two, and I've been really on a neckerchief bandana kick. I will share more about that in a bit. And I saw this gorgeous yarn, and I thought it would make a really beautiful neck scarf neckerchief. This is the color Caspian in their fingering weight yarn. I think it's a singles. It is. It's a singles base. And they didn't have an exact color match in mohair or Surrey for this, but one of the lovely people in the booth pulled this out to go with it, and I just thought that it would be so much fun and add a little bit of dimension if I went with this dusty blue color. And did I mention what color this one was? This is sky blue, and this is dusty blue and Caspian. And so I thought that this would make another beautiful Sophie scarf. And I don't think you can have enough of them. I already have a couple, but I thought this would be a really nice version of it. So picked those up as well at the Wandering Flock. I loved meeting everyone in the booth. They had such a welcoming atmosphere. It was so much fun. Before I get to the next thing, I thought I would also mention I met so many amazing people. A lovely lady from Sarnia named Leslie came by to say hello. Hi, Leslie. And she gave me a beautiful gift bag with a few things, all from Sarnia, which is an area in Ontario. She gave me this really pretty card because she knows I love to collect postcards and papers and things for my journals. And most of the things she gave me have been scattered around the house. There was a beautiful candle handmade by, I think, a father and son duo in Sarnia. There was a delicious smelling bag of coffee, which is in the kitchen. And she also gave me this beautiful skein of yarn from Color Catcher Yarn. It was in a purple gift bag, and I was just over the moon. It was such a thoughtful gift. Everything was kind of based on things she knew that I loved and my favorite color. And it was just the nicest thing. James was with me when she came by, and we just could not stop talking about you, Leslie. So thank you so much. It was one of the nicest gifts, so thoughtfully put together, and I just really appreciated that from you. My friend Courtney from Buffalo also came up with her lovely aunt. She gave me a bag full of treats from Trader Joe's, which have also been some eaten and some tucked away for later. She gave me a beautiful card, and it was just so nice to see you, Courtney. Thank you so much for coming. And I don't know, everyone that stopped by really made the weekend for me. These shows can sometimes be a bit overwhelming, but seeing all of the smiling faces and getting hugs or just little hellos, it means the world to me. So thank you so much to everyone that came by to say hello and had something sweet to say. Oh, I was going to say this is my last purchase, but it's not. Okay. I mentioned the beautiful Progress Keeper on one of my projects. It was from Soft Spoken. She had a booth, and I made a point to run over there on Sunday morning to see what I could grab because I absolutely love her stitch markers and progress keepers. I've already taken one off of this card to use on a new project, but these are 3 of the 4 stitch markers that I grabbed. I just love all of her designs. She makes all of these beautiful pieces, and I finally got to see some of her buttons in person and I could not resist. I'm not sure what I'm going to use them for, but I think they're so beautiful. I had to have them. And I was just really happy to bring these little pieces of artwork home with me. They make me so happy when I look down at my knitting and I see one of her charms or stitch markers on something. My last purchase was a big one. I was thinking all weekend about a few different projects with yarn from Sandra Yarn. And I got to say hello to a few people in that booth. I got to see Melissa and all of her gorgeous samples. There is just something about Melissa's knitwear choices, not only the patterns, but also the colors that get me every single time. I follow Sandra Yarn on Instagram, and every week it feels like there's a new stunning pattern with inspiration. And I often go straight to the website, pick out whatever colors I would imagine myself making that piece in, but then I wait to see what's really going to stick, because some patterns are not always for me. I am really trying to get into this habit of loving something and not having to have it. I don't need to have everything. Not every pattern is for me, but eventually there will be one that lingers and lingers, and I just know that eventually I will be making it. And I picked up yarn for one sweater that I saw her post weeks and weeks ago. And I actually had picked out all of the colors that I would do my version in, and I put it in my cart. I took screenshots of it and I kept going back to look at it, and then it got very close to Knit City, so I thought I'm going to wait and see the yarns when I get to Knit City. So let's see, I had an order of these in mind. I'm gonna try to hold them up because there's quite a few. And I can't remember the name of the sweater, but I'll put it on the screen. It is, I think it might be a Joji Locatelli sweater, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's the summer stripe or something stripe. Anyways, it is a gorgeous, kind of simple silhouette done in stripes, and Melissa did it holding 2 strands of her haze, which is a Surrey alpaca base, and I was obsessed. These are the colors that I chose. I think they're beautiful. I'm thinking they're going to be this way, so I'm going to start at the top with, I'll tell you all of the colors. Dirty Weekend. Then I'm going to move into Mint Condition because I think they're perfection together. I even think this would make a great color combination for an Olga sweater. Stunning. Then Les Filles. Then First Light, which I think adds a really nice brightness to this combination. Extra Virgin, and ending with Petrichor. I actually wanted to end with Navy, but they were all out, and Melissa suggested this one, and I think it might even be better. So this is going to be a sweater project in a long list of sweaters that I have in my queue at the moment. I'm going to share some of those with you next. But how exciting is this? Because I think it will be so much fun to just get to the next color. That is the thing about stripes. I will start the sweater and then it will motivate me to keep going to see what each color looks like. So very, very happy with this purchase. I think they're gorgeous, and I love that they give you a gift bag when you make a purchase there. So I've got all of my goodies in here from Knit City. I do have a couple of other sweaters in my queue before I get to this one, but I'm hoping that if I can keep on track, like I think I can, I will hopefully get to this one by the end of the summer or early fall, and then it will be perfect to wear in the cooler months. So that is everything that I got from Knit City. It was a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And funnily enough, the next day, I drove James to university, which is about an hour and 5 or 10 minutes away. And I was bringing him because he just had one class and wanted to come back. And I had found a beautiful yarn shop online in that area where I was going that had a book that I've been trying to get my hands on for a few weeks. And they had a good selection of copies left. So I headed out to Peterborough to visit Needles in the Hay. I have never been to this yarn shop before. I really didn't know what to expect. I looked at their website. They did seem to have a really nice collection of yarns. And I also saw that they carried Mayak yarn, which I don't get to see in person very often. And I'm currently working on a project with Mayak yarn, and I really, really love it. So I was super excited to make a bit of an afternoon out of it. So while James was in his class, I headed into Peterborough to visit Needles in the Hay. I met Natalie, who was working that day, and she was so welcoming and lovely. She told me a bit about the yarns that they carried and how they focus primarily on more natural bases. They do have some sock yarns with nylon and a few other options, but they are heavily focused on natural, beautiful yarns. But the book that I was on the hunt for was the first thing I went to, and I'm so happy I got my hands on it. It's 52 Weeks of Sweaters. I've been seeing this pop up everywhere, and I think because I'm really focused on sweater knitting at the moment, I just really wanted to get my hands on this. I had also flipped through a copy at the Wandering Flock booth at Knit City, and I've marked a few patterns so far. Like number 1, Tane, really stood out to me. I'm really loving these kind of simple silhouettes with really subtle but beautiful details. I think you can see there the raglan has a gorgeous detail and it goes down the side seams. It's really beautiful. Another one that really appeals to me is the third one. It's called Frig by Anna Sovard. Here's a picture of it. They're all numbered. So they basically are separated into different chapters, different styles, but they all have a number with the name and the pattern designer. Another one I'm loving, just in case you have this book, is number 6, Geraldine Yang's Cozy Rib. Another beautiful sweater. I feel like these are the types of sweaters I would like to add to my wardrobe because they are like everyday sweaters. I don't know how to pronounce this one, but it's Danish for apple flower. It's number 15. Maybe it's Ebelblomst by Clara Eggers. That's how you spell it there. I'm trying to keep the patterns out of the screen, and this one is a beautiful color work sweater. So I'm really enjoying flipping through this. I'd like to try a few. There are so many beautiful patterns in here. It's a Lina Publishing book, and I love it. So this was my reason for going, but I am so happy that I went to visit this yarn shop because it's really somewhere I will go again. And while I was there, I could not resist looking around a little bit at all of the yarns, but especially the Mayak. And I'm currently knitting with the Tibetan Cloud base on my party line scarf, which has kind of taken a back seat this week, but I saw that they had Tibetan Cloud. There was something about this color that just really stood out to me. It is called Flame. I love how this yarn knits up. It's a little bit rustic, but it's also super squishy and soft, which I feel like is appropriate with the name because it really does feel like a cloud. I don't know much about this yarn. It is a sport light TK. It's 100% wool. I don't know if there's something special about how this is made, but it says it comes from an ancient breed of sheep that roam freely on the grassland of the Tibetan plateau. It uses the finest and softest hearth of that wool, creating a yarn that is exceptionally light and soft, sliding across your hands as clouds that float across the Tibetan sky. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm super happy about this. I feel like this can sit in my stash until I find another little neckerchief or bandana to make because I think it would be beautiful. I also saw some really pretty samples hanging right in front of this yarn for Isabel Kramer's Bonnie and Clyde bandanas. I do remember seeing this on their Instagram, and it's basically using two different colors. The pattern is for two different patterns in this bandana, and you can use two skeins of their yarn to get two bandanas, and you just use the colors according to the design. They're very different, and I chose these two colors. So this is the Fior di Lino, which is 50% Tibetan Cloud wool, 35% baby yak, and 15% Italian linen. It's a fingering weight. I got the color Vintage Celadon and Walnut. This one is a collaboration color with Isabel Kramer, who designed that pattern. And I'm all about these little Neckerchiefs bandanas right now, so I think this was a really good purchase to also put in my stash. I might even have a little basket on my shelves with all of the yarns that I think would make great neckerchiefs, bandanas, tiny scarves. So speaking of tiny scarves, I decided to cast on a new project while I was at Knit City. I've put it in my avocado bunny bag, which I'm kind of obsessed with at the moment. This one is just my favorite right now. And I've had this pattern and the yarn ready to go since last year, but I put it aside waiting for the right moment. And I decided to bring it with me to Knit City. And while we were waiting, after setup, we had a couple of hours to wait before the show actually started. I decided to cast this on, and it has been my knitting obsession for the last week and a half. It's La Bandana, a pattern by Amy Jill, who is the dyer and creator behind La Bien-Aimée. And this is my La Bandana so far. I'm in love with this. It is such a happy knit for me. It's bringing me joy every single day. And I can also pick it up without thinking about it at all. It took me a little bit of time to memorize the pattern, even though it's super simple, because I was at the show and I feel like I was a bit distracted by the people and everything going on. But once I got home, I very quickly memorized the pattern and I'm loving this. So I feel like I'm making very good progress. The colors make me so happy as well. They are La Bien-Aimés Merino Super Sock 50-gram balls. So I got two 50-gram balls. I purchased these at the Knitting Loft last year when I was visiting. And I got them because they actually had a sample of this on a mannequin and I fell in love with it. I went back and I looked at the photo I took of it. I did make a small change to their version. I used the same colors, and in their version, it was more of a micro stripe. So they did 2 rows of each color. So it's a little bit of a smaller stripe than this. I didn't really pay attention to that when I was at the show. I just started. I thought this looked good and I really like it. As you can see, I'm a lover of stripes. So I am doing 4 rows of each color and I'm obsessed. I can only find the band for one of the colors. This is the Ishigo colorway, which is the lighter pink that has some beautiful speckles in it. And I can't find the other band, but this is their very famous colorway. They do it, I think, in all of their bases. It's called Floro something. So it's the kind of fluorescent pink, super bright, very happy. I love the feel of this. And I can see myself making this pattern again and again. So I've got it tucked in my bag and it goes everywhere around the house with me. I'm knitting on this most mornings, most evenings, and whenever I can squeeze in a couple of rows in between. And since I'm talking about La Bandana, I thought I would share a little bit of my excitement for all of the small scarves, neckerchiefs, I don't know what you want to call them, but I've been seeing so many patterns for them. I know that the Sophie scarf kind of created a bit of a craze for them. It's a beautiful pattern. I have 2 of them myself and a 3rd one that I modified. These are my Sophie scarves. I have my first one that I did in Clinton Hill cashmere, which is super soft and beautiful. I love it. I did my second one in this gorgeous colorway, which is a Chelsea Luxe yarn. This is the baby alpaca base. And this is in the color Red Bank, which is one of my favorites. It has so many beautiful speckles. I love just popping this in my bag when I go out because you never know when you might need a little extra warmth. And then I remember I shared this one with you guys as well. I did a modified version of the Sophie scarf and made it more into a bandana by doing the increases on every right side row until I got to half of my skein of yarn, which is a really big skein. So I'm not quite sure how much yarn you would need to do this, but this has been one of my most worn little scarves or shawls in the last year. I love it. It just fits so nicely when I'm putting a winter coat on. It doesn't get in the way and it keeps me super warm without being too hot. This was in Primrose Yarn Company's yarn. I can't remember the base right now, but I love it. So I've been loving these and I've come to the realization that even though I like sock knitting now and then, sometimes I really just want to work on socks, but that phase comes and goes for me. These are the perfect little projects to keep near you, to bring with you. And I feel like I wear these a lot more I really love having the different colors, the different bases, and adding them to an outfit. And so I created a bundle in Ravelry with a whole bunch of patterns for these that I think are really beautiful. I will put the link to my collected bundle of patterns down below if you want to have a look. I know lots of people have done this as well, but this is what it looks like. I've got so many in here from, I think the first one I ever put in here was the tiny tassels from a really long time ago. I've got the party line scarf, which I'm currently working on. The bandana is in here. The pressed flowers kerchief, which I cast on last year and kind of forgot about. The Bonnie and Clyde by Isabel Kramer. There are so many in here. I'm really in love with the variations of La Bandana by Amy Jill. You can see some of them here. The striped, the patchwork. I love them. And there's also one from West Knits, the bubble bandana, that looks like a lot of fun to use a whole bunch of different colors. You can see it right there. So I'm going to share that link with you if you are looking for some new fun patterns for little neckerchiefs. I don't even know what to call them. There's so many names for them. And I thought I would also mention that my friend Emma from Woolly Mammoth Fibers, she has a tiny scarf club, which I think is so much fun. Every month she suggests a pattern for one of these tiny scarves, neckerchiefs, bandanas, to try and expand knitting styles or building skills, trying new things. And she offers a mystery monthly skein. So you can purchase 1 month, you can purchase as many months as you want. She dyes up a color. She has a pattern suggestion that you can go ahead and buy yourself on Ravelry. And you can have fun knitting it with a whole bunch of other people, which I think is such a fun way to kind of gather community as well. And I don't know about you, but when someone else is knitting the same project as me, I get very, very excited. I know my friend Courtney, who visited Knit City, also bought yarn from the Wandering Flock for the Jaunty. So I'm hoping maybe we will start that at the same time. It always feels very exciting to be checking in with a friend to see where they're at on the same project as you. So I thought I would mention that because I love the idea of a mystery skein. I love that it is catered to a small one skein project. And I feel like these little scarves are going to be what I'm super excited about for the next few months. I just feel like I could keep adding these to my wardrobe and be very, very happy about it. I thought I would share what else I've been working on right now. Some of my other projects have taken a back seat. I've organized them in a big tote bag, which I might share later too. But right now I am just working on my La Bandana, the pink one. I am also trying to get back into my sweater knitting. And before Knit City, I started to set up one of the notebooks in my little leather journal as a knitting notebook. I can't remember if I shared this or not, if I had done it when I filmed the last time, but I've been planning a lot of sweaters for some time. I have a lot of sweaters quantity of yarn and I don't want to forget about them. So I started to print off little pictures of the ones I really want to knit. I use my little Ivy Canon mini printer and I started to just plot in the names of them. I'm going to jot in the yarn that I have. I might even put some swatches. If I cast on, I will put in the ball band as well. I just thought it would be a really nice place to put down some of the knitting inspiration that I don't want to forget about. And while I was at the show, a very lovely lady, she walked by and with her daughter, Nancy, and she was wearing a Norma sweater that totally caught my eye. Both her and her daughter were wearing hand knits, and I stopped them to compliment them. And it really just inspired me to pull out my Norma sweater. I cast this on, and I say that very, very lightly because I think I had knit 3 rows of it and I put it aside. But I pulled it out and I did a couple more rows, and I've put it in this little basket to also remind me to not forget about it. So it's very, very small. I don't even have the other colors that will be the color work here right now, but this is Sandra yarn, which is beautiful. And when I pull out my other tote bag with a whole bunch of projects in it, I will share the beautiful contrast colors that are really going to make this sweater. But I thought I would share that this is one of my sweater priorities. I am really going to try to finish this one next. But first, and also the Norma sweater is a pattern by My Favorite Things. First, I'd like to continue working on my No Frills sweater, which is a pattern by Petite Knits. I am using Chelsea Luxe yarns in the color Fairy Tale. And I haven't knit on this since before Knit City. I've just been obsessed with my bandana, but I'm very much looking forward to getting back into this sweater. I really want to have this one. I think it's beautiful. So for my sweater knitting, the No Frills is my top priority. I'm going to continue working on this. I'm also going to keep the Norma in the background. If I can work on both at the same time without it affecting my No Frills, I will. If not, it will be after the No Frills. But I have a couple of others after that that I'm itching to cast on. So lots of sweaters are in my future. I just really need to focus on mostly one at a time. And I'm hoping by next fall and winter, I will have a good 3 new sweaters. We will see. My fingers are crossed. I go through phases of what I want to be knitting on, but right now it's mostly sweaters and little neckerchiefs. So I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm going to take a little break. I am going to put in some of the footage from Knit City and also my visit to Needles in the Hay. I thought it would be fun to share those with you. And then I think a little later, after I clean up this mess, I am going to come back and share some of the bags, the leather bags that I kept for myself after this last big batch that I did. They are currently in the shop. I do have leather in the shop right now. And I'm also working on updating the shop with project bags for an update later this week. I wanted to share what bags will be coming to the shop. I also have a new bag that I've designed and I have a prototype for. So lots of things I want to share with you. If this video is not too long, I'll be back to share them with you in a bit. out and drop off some shipping soon, but I thought I would share a little sneak peek at my brand new lakeside tote. This is my first sample. I've been testing it out for a couple of weeks now, and I absolutely love it. It's a little smaller than the large everything tote bag, but it's taller and not as wide as the carry-all tote. So it's been perfect to take around with me if I need more than just a small bag, but I don't want to tote around a really big bag. I thought I would also share a couple of the bags that I kept for myself after this last big update, because I feel like I kept quite a few. I actually kept another carry-all tote. I do have one that I'm using as my couch or analog bag still, and I love it. But I wanted another one to keep more of my journaling stuff. And then I also throw in just my small knitting project. And this has been going everywhere with me around the house. I do have a few carry-alls in the shop right now. I also kept an avocado mini tote bag. I love this little bag, and I love it especially for spring and summer because it's just the perfect size for me if I'm just running to a store. It also makes a great project bag, but I really wanted this one for spring and summer. I think it's gonna look so cute, and it's just enough space to carry quite a bit, but not overload your bag. Speaking of big bags, I kept an everything leather tote bag for myself in Iris. I've been wanting this bag myself for a very long time. So after the show, when I had a few to bring home, I decided one would be mine. And what I'm doing with this bag is I'm kind of using it as a catch-all for all of the other knitting projects that I don't want completely hidden or buried. And I might pull out, but I don't really need them all the time. So this sits in my family room. This is the bag for my Norma sweater that I showed earlier. These are going to be the contrast colors. I'm so excited. And I just have my cozy comfort throw in here, a sock project, things I might want to grab, but I can just tuck them away for now. I think I am going to run out, do my shipping, and then when I come back, I wanted to give a little update for the shop. I'm going to be putting project bags in the shop on Friday night at 7 p.m. And so I thought I would share what's going to be in the shop so you have a little bit of a heads up. And then I should probably wrap this up because I feel like this video is getting very long. Time for some shop news. I have lots of small and large project bags coming to the shop on Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll put all the details down below in the description box. I have both small and large ones, and I'm really excited because I found some beautiful new prints. The first one is this fun, kind of summery yellow geometric. It has a gingham lining. I think it is so fun. I have these burgundy strawberries with another gingham lining. Also very fun for summer. This one is one of my favorites, this beautiful rose print. And I love the tassels on this one. This has a gray gingham and these really fun typewriters with pink zipper and pull and another gray gingham lining. I also have some small project bags. I've got 4 new ones that will be available on Friday. The first one is this really pretty Rifle Paper Company floral, super spring-like. I am adding more of this really classic denim dot This one comes and goes. It's so classic. I love it. So I'll have a batch of these in there. I did a few sewing inspired fabrics a little while ago. I still have some of this one that is in the shop, but I've also added 2 new prints from the same collection. I think they're so much fun. The sewing machines with this really fun zipper pull. The Judies or dress forms, the beautiful green and teal. And they just look really nice with these embroidery hoops, which I've had around for a while. I also have a few left of these beautiful moths and this patchwork. So the shop will be loaded on Friday. I already have all of the leather left over from Knit City in the shop now. There are everything tote bags, some carry-all bags, the mini tote, and I have a couple of journals left. A lot of them are gone, but I did add a brand new color. I previously offered cognac and red, but I now also have a dark brown. I'll pop in a photo because they are upstairs, but there is a lot available in the shop. I hope that if you've been looking for something, you will find exactly what you are looking for. I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's getting very, very long. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you are finding all the time that you can to do really peaceful, calming things, particularly crafts of any kind. Let me know what you are working on or what you are knitting. I am so curious to know what inspires people in the springtime. I know that fall and winter are typically big months known for knitting, but I really get inspired in the spring to pull out all kinds of projects and just have really comfy, cozy time spent in the backyard whenever possible with my knitting. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you next time.